Mr. Bain.
How are you?
Good to see you, Robert.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks for having me in the new office. So Matt and I, fun fact, we're kind of like neighbors on South Beach on Lincoln Road. He was there way before me for the longest time. He has since abandoned South Beach. We are abandoning South Beach in a couple weeks. First time in your new shop. We are in Coral Gables. I love the space, man.
It's a great space.
So before we get to watches, show me around and
Yeah, well,
start with this.
yeah, so this is an original fountain pen display, probably from like the 1930s, Parker pens. Bought this a long time ago, and it was a centerpiece not only at my store in South Beach, but I used to haul this thing to the Miami Beach Antique Show. And it's crazy, like if this glass breaks, this thing is gone. So I had to really use...
What era is this?
Like 1930s, yeah.
Wow.
And it was used for fountain pens, but I sold tons of watches out of this thing over the years, especially at the Miami Beach Antique Show, my store. And now we have little gifts and tchotchkes in here, like if guys looking for a little clock or lighter.
It's funny because people come to my office and they love all the little tchotchkes I have.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to go to Bain's office. Like, it totally craps on my office.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't ever want to sell these things, and I have tons of them in the office. I go, it's not for sale, not for sale. So in this office, it's kind of a little bit of like a showroom now,
Right.
and I put little clocks in there and things that are for sale, and it's working. People are buying these things.
Okay, so everything in here is for sale.
Pretty much, yeah. Everything in here is for sale.
That's awesome. All right, show me some of the cool tchotchkes that are not for sale and show us around the office.
All right. Well, here is the office. So we made it like a showroom, and since it's a big enough space, I wanted to put a pool table in. So here's like a wall unit of some tchotchkes.
What's your favorite on the wall here?
Oh, man, there are so many, but
Or the coolest story, I guess.
I guess this is a great piece. This is a Longines chronometer. Really, really cool clock. I bought it at auction years ago. The 24-hour dials and the chronometer.
A real
movement.
clock.
Yeah, with chronometer grade movement, which is really cool.
This is funky.
Yeah,
It's
the green ice cube. They made it in different colors: red, green. I think there's another couple. This is cool. An Hermes with the barometer.
Man, I see this
the
one down
calendar.
here too. Old time.
Yeah, another Hermes. And this is a great clock. I love this clock. You'd never see this clock. So this is a Patek Philippe solar clock made of wood. And then on the side, in the back, are the ship motif.
Oh, wow.
It's a very, very cool solar clock.
It was circa like 60s kind of thing?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, 1960s.
Right.
And this is another one with like lapis markers, with all the stone dial stuff now. It's pretty cool with lapis markers.
How many years have you been like accumulating all this stuff? Because I've been to yours and Massimo's warehouse, and there's
Yeah.
so much more.
Oh my God, it is crazy. Yeah, like 25 years. When I closed the other office down, I did end up, some of the stuff I just didn't care for anymore. I just kind of like put it in auction or gave it to friends. And look at this LaCultre clock. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but look at the hands. Look at the way they move.
I've never seen that.
Isn't that incredible?
It's funky design.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cool stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's just great stuff.
It's the same thing. I always like fall in love with all
I mean,
stuff.
like even like this is Arnold Palmer on a Zippo lighter, you know, with like a little note from Arnold Palmer signed, you know, like
little cool stuff.
I mean,
little cool mementos.
I mean, look at this thing. It's an Elgin box, but look at this frickin' box. Look at that. I mean,
Don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. And this is it's a Tissot box. I mean, look at this old Tissot box. And this is a really good thing. So we're in here, we make a big sale, and we do this. That's what we do when we make a sale. Like when you ring a bell, when you get
like
a tip.
a duck horn or something?
Yeah. So you know, like when you're at the bar and they get the tip, they go ding ding. So like after we make, we're like, oh, we went flying. There goes my duck thing. Oh my God, I'm not gonna get any more ducks. Anyway, so just a lot of cool tchotchkes.
Yeah, dude.
You know.
Your last office was very cool. I think this one tops.
So I'll show you this box sculpture I put together.
This is insane.
Oh my God.
Purse watch,
This
but it's like a
plate-
dealer display.
Yeah. There's
Wow.
probably only 3 or 4 of these known.
Yeah, I've
And it was in on a shelf in a bar in Chile.
What?
Yeah, my friend bought it.
Like found it in Chile.
In Chile, in
convinced
a
them to buy
bar,
it.
right? And he bought it, and then he sold it to me. I mean, it's like a museum. It is like a museum piece.
If you ever want to
That's
sell
probably
it, let me know.
that is
my
probably,
favorite.
and that's like my individual office right here. But
So you use the watchmaker's bench. Morgan uses the.
yeah, he's the chief.
He's the chief. And I love how you have the watchmaker storage cabinet here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Morgan's executive style.
Yeah, I'm
Matt more laid back.
it's more like the lounge, and you know, we come in, hang out, and this is like an old French It was used in a French like post office, you know, the mail.
Right.
So I made like a cool box.
What is this?
I think it's Le Coultre.
Admiral? Yeah. No,
Longines.
That is super cool. A double duty box to hold jewelry studs and cigarettes.
There's some, there are great boxes out there. They really
Absolutely.
are.
I don't understand why brands don't do stuff like this anymore.
I mean, and it's just like, there's like no shortage of boxes. I mean, box after box after box. I mean, thousands and thousands of boxes. I mean, look. Just
Lifetime of collecting.
Look, you know, just
A lifetime of collecting.
tons of boxes. And this is a really cool piece. So I have a lot of art around here too that means a lot and people don't understand it, but this is the Air Force One when Kennedy was the president.
Okay.
A guy named Raymond Loewy was designing the different color formats for the Air Force One. And years ago at Christie's, there was this auction and I bought all the remaining stuff from Raymond Loewy. And there were like 6 of these with 6 different color schemes.
That's awesome.
And I kept a few of them. I sold a few in my old store in South Beach. So like there's a lot of meaning behind a lot of things in the office. So these are some musicians that I like.
Yeah, I feel like your office really is an expression of you and like the team you guys have.
Yeah.
For sure. Most people watch these videos to see awesome watches. You have probably more than anybody on the East Coast. 100%. That's not a guess. It's a statement of fact. Show us some cool watches.
Okay,
What do we got today?
I put a couple, hey, maybe we'll sit down. I'll bring a couple over.
So Matt has been gracious enough to pull out 5 cool new watches he just got in stock. He has a lot more, believe me, a lot. Show us some of your new favorite.
Well, it's funny because say this was like 10 years ago, I'd be probably showing you like a Paul Newman or a Big Crown James Bond, which are all still great, highly collectible watches. The trend in the market now, which I call it, is more like luxury.
Right.
People wanting platinum and gold. And so I pulled out a selection of these luxury type watches, plus some collectible Pateks. Like, for example, this is called the Cobra by AP. I mean, look at all those diamonds on that AP.
You know what? If you had not just said Cobra, my brain would have never been like, oh, that's a Cobra.
But it is a Cobra.
Holy
And look at the amount of diamonds. And I sent to AP. They gave me the archive.
Wow. I didn't even know they made this.
I mean, I'm sure it's like 60, 70 carats of diamonds on there.
Well,
But that truly is a Cobra.
number 1 on the back.
Yeah, number 1.
There's probably one ever ordered.
Probably. I mean, you see the basic white gold Cobras or yellow gold, just basic gold band. I mean, look at this workmanship. Dude, it's like a museum piece. There was a similar one in auction, not clearly as much in diamond weight.
Right.
I think recently at Phillips, and it brought about $75,000.
I was literally going to ask, how do you even like know what to pay or price this thing at? I mean, it's so unique.
You know, you eye it.
Right.
You know, that's
feeling.
like I tell my kids, like, hey, that cup is 3/4 full, half, just eye it. What do you think? So that's what I'm doing here. I, just kind of eye it and kind of figure out what it's worth.
Right. Well, it's worth what somebody's willing to pay, and I'm sure you will arrive at that number at some point. It's crazy. This is fucking crazy.
It really is a crazy watch.
Right. I got to put this on.
It's cool.
All right. What else do we have on the table while I put this on my wrist?
Here is a Rolex. So, the Ovettone, one of the first automatic large bubble backs.
Right.
I've never had this configuration of an Ovettone ever before. It's with a 24-hour dial.
Wow.
I think it's extremely rare.
I never.
It might have been made for like the English market or something, because you see some exotic dials made for that particular market.
Yeah, like that railroad style.
Yeah. But it's original. I just
certainly it doesn't seem not original.
No. It's. I mean, I loop the thing up and down. I've just never seen anything like it. It's raw.
Yeah, it's honest, dude. This is a 50s watch. So it's very hard to find them perfect, but this is very nice.
I just can't believe the dial, though. I mean, it's really amazing. It's really cool looking, too.
Yeah.
Like Arabic numbers in the 24-hour.
What else we got?
Okay, so these two watches.
Tell me about this. What is this?
All right. This is a very cool watch. I've seen it once before.
Hold on.
I mean, look at this.
Fucking wild.
Is that Cobra unbelievable?
Wow. All right.
This watch, believe it or not, was born in 1915, 1910, sold in like 1935.
But born as a pocket watch?
No. It's a wristwatch. I have the archive certificate for it. I do believe it probably was born to be a pocket watch when they made the movement in 1910, But then they had all these movements, and Patek Philippe actually made the wristwatch. There's been like 3 or 4 of these on the market, and they all say the same thing. 1910, sold in 1935.
Right.
So there's like, and this one's beautiful with like kind of a sector type dial.
Yeah, sector and applied numeral.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
With
dial.
with the crown at 12. Small watch, but smaller watches are kind of back
This
in.
has great wrist presses, especially with the flexible lugs and how long it sits on your wrist.
And the condition of the watch is very, very nice.
Oh, that's great.
I was really pumped because I bought it without an archive, but the dealer I bought it from guaranteed it.
Guaranteed it, right?
Got the archive, and I was really, really happy about it.
These days, like you can only buy like a vintage Patek if somebody without an archive, if they'll guarantee that it
we were
archives.
just talking about that, and the archive department today has been very difficult. Like they're telling you it won't archive, and it might just because the second hand is wrong.
Right.
If they would tell you what is wrong,
Yeah.
you could get it fixed. But I believe Patek Philippe, they like to see you send it there for service. You get it service, and then maybe you get the archive.
You're not wrong because listen, I sold a $11,000 ellipse to a gentleman for his wife. His wife finally got it as a gift. I guess it was on her birthday. And she contacts me and she's like, hey, I took it to Patek because I need to size the bracelet. They told me it's in dire need of a service, even though the watch is perfect. And it will cost $5,000. And I'm like, wait, what? $5,000 to service a time-only ellipse. I'm like, absolutely. They said, it doesn't need to happen today, but like it will eventually need a service. And it's like, wait, what? I never thought about that, but I think you might be right that they are very cagey with their information because they want you to send the watch in. $5,000 to service an ellipse is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It just happened to me. I went and archived one of my watches. I sent it to somebody else, sent it in. They said, they'll service it and give you an archive to my private client.
Wow.
But they didn't give me an archive when I sent it in. I don't understand what's going on, but...
And the whole rule about you can only order it once every 2 years, it just it's making life a lot difficult for no reason.
Right.
For no reason.
I mean, I understand there's probably been some weird things that have happened in the archive department that they're trying to protect themselves, but
there's other ways to go about doing it.
Exactly.
Without being detrimental for the consumer, because that's what they're doing. They're hurting their own clients.
Exactly.
People who want to collect these watches, because a lot of time collecting vintage Patek goes hand in hand with collecting modern Patek. So a lot of these people who are asking for archives might own their new stuff as well. It's not like they're buying one to spite the other,
Yeah, I mean, and think about this, like a 30-year career of mine, applying for an average of 50 archives a year, maybe.
It's a lot of money.
50, well, it didn't used to be.
Right.
They were $50, $75. Now they're
500.
Well, that's Swiss francs, so it's like $650. So this watch is a good story. So this is like kind of like a form of a driver's watch from the 1940s.
Well, this bracelet.
My father had one of these years ago and actually sold it. So this popped up at Antiquorum about 3-4 years ago. And so it's not a newer acquisition, but I bought it for me because it has memories from my father who was a watch collector. So it's not really for sale, this one, but it's just really cool. It's rose and white gold.
I was going to say, I know who's going to watch this video and immediately message and ask how much you're asking for. But I guess not. So that person, don't ask. I know on some other Pateks, the reason, what do you think the crystal is faceted for? You think that was for driving, to be able to like see different, but I've never seen where it's like 3 pieces.
I know, is that incredible?
It's really crazy.
So when my dad sold the watch and he kept another one instead, and the other one is the famous, I don't remember the reference, but it's a big square platinum watch I kept all these years and sold it to like a famous collector like 10 years after my dad passed away. That watch showed up in a classified section of the Washington Post. This platinum horn lug thing with the emerald dial, and bought it years ago in like the 1980s for like $10,000, and it was sold to this private collector. Years later, I sold it for my mother for about $280,000.
And I in a classified
when my
section.
dad sold this, he had that watch, and the dealer who bought it for my dad chose this over that one. And
Because you like what you like. And I think it's really telling, especially back then when the values were a lot different and it was more focused on what you actually think about the watch versus how much the watch is worth.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people do think about what the watch is worth today instead of putting a watch on your wrist and, oh, I really like it.
Right. And really,
I love when a client does that. I really like the watch.
Yeah.
Because that means they really have a passion for the actual watch.
You have to, I tell everybody, you're the one who has to wear it. You have to like it.
Right.
You have to look down and like it.
Yeah.
Not anybody else.
Yeah.
That's a simple truth.
And I'm sure, like, look, we do a lot of business. You do, I do. The bottom line is I still really love watches.
Same.
And I know you do too. I mean, when you see a good watch, you're You're really happy to see it? Yeah.
Yeah, you get
So, I mean,
excited.
it's funny, like, I still get excited about, like, all these watches right here. I'm really happy about these watches.
All right, well,
So
tell us about the last one.
the last
My favorite
one-
references.
So, yeah, so this is just a drop dead 570 and rose gold, pink with a pink dial. The watch is just phenomenal. I've never exposed this watch, never been on the webpage, never did go on Instagram. Yeah.
Just beautiful
It's
watch.
just with the two-tone kind of dial and crispy case. I mean, to find those dials in that type of condition is
Very
is
difficult.
they're usually like refreshed, and this is one that's just never been touched. And this was a nice story because I bought the watch from a very famous American collector about 25 years ago. Sold it to a collector here in Miami, and I was begging to buy it back for the last 10 years. And about 6 months ago, he came to me and he finally sold it back to me.
Nice.
So I was really happy to obtain the watch back. That's what's nice about collectors that keep watches for a long time. You know, you get them back later and it's like part of your inventory.
Right.
So that's why
Part of
good.
the family.
It's good to treat the clients good. You sell them at fair prices.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of clients, like we were talking earlier before we started filming, a lot of people after 6 months, they want to sell something. After a year, they want to sell something. It's the collectors that keep the watches for a long period of time, not only do they enjoy them and love them, but I think there's a financial benefit by keeping the watch longer.
That's what I literally, I have this conversation a lot, and I tell people, you know, my clients who generally do the best are the guys who buy a watch because they really like it. But they're not too fussed over, you know, oh, let me put it into Chrono 24 and see what the market price is.
Right,
blah, blah, blah.
exactly.
Where they enjoy it, they come back a couple of years later, 2, 3, 4, whatever years later,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, I want to trade in, it's time to move on. I've had it on my phone. And I'm like, oh, well, I can give you 20 grand more than you paid. And they're like, wait, what? They don't, like, they're not even paying attention to
Right,
that, you know?
exactly.
And it's like a nice surprise for
Yeah.
them.
I mean, this has been in like my watch family for 25 years between
Right.
the two collectors, but it was never in an auction. It was found fresh originally. So I love watches like this that have this type of condition. I know where it came from. That's the last watch that we're going to look at today.
All right. Awesome. Well, dude, congrats on the move. Congrats on the amazing space.
Thank you very much.
If you are in the Coral Gables area, be sure to reach out on their website, make an appointment, and come see them. We only showed 5 watches. Guys, there's like, I don't know, 5,000 more? Maybe not 5,000, but there are a lot of amazing watches here at Bain Inc. Dude, thanks for taking the time.
I appreciate you coming. Finally coming.